Now, before we start talking about this thing in front of the camera, I do want to say thank you very much to James B. for joining the Patreon. I appreciate that a whole lot, and I'm also so sorry it's taken me this long to acknowledge that vocally. For anyone who's unfamiliar with my filming, I tend to film in batches, which means I'll film something and there's usually a bit of a delay between when it's filmed and when you all are seeing it. So, James, thank you again. It's just that you joined after I'd recorded a bunch of things, and so those videos were already done, and I didn't mention it then. So yeah, apologies, but I'm acknowledging it now. And for anyone else who's into the whole Patreon thing, let's get this out of the way up front. I do have both a Patreon and a Ko-fi. Links to both are at either the end of the video or down in the description if you want to support the channel monetarily, or you can just do the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe. That's also nice. So with all that out of the way, let us talk about Buzzworthy Dinobot. This is actually, this is not the first video I'm recording in this current recording session. It's just that I was silly and completely forgot about acknowledging James's contribution to the Patreon until I got to this guy. So this is like the third video that I'm recording in this batch, but it's going to be the first one going live because I want to get that shout out, out there without it taking much longer. But anyway, Buzzworthy Dinobot. I really like the Kingdom Dinobot mold. It's a really cool mold. I've had the original I had the first Kingdom Dinobot and then sold it off. I had the Grimlock that they made from that, which was the white raptor with like the thing. I can't remember if I made a video on Grimlock or not. I feel like I must have, but maybe I didn't. But point is, I had that and then sold that one off too. The reason I have this one and still have it is because I used to own the original Beast Wars Dinobot toy. So I have that fondness and nostalgia for this fleshy, weird deco. So I'm actually really happy to have this. My figure is getting some noticeable discoloration in a few places, which we will go over when I start looking over all this. So that's a shame, but oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I really like the figure, and having one in an appropriately nostalgic deco makes me really happy. And also, it occurred to me as I was doing some recordings that I've started using Dinobot as my Voyager size comparison, and I don't actually have a video on this particular figure. I do have a video on Kingdom Dinobot and maybe the Grimlock repaint. I don't remember, again. If I do, then cool. But yeah, I never actually did a video on this specific figure, so we're doing it now. And this is just, it's Kingdom Dinobot, but in original Beast Wars Dinobot colors, kind of. And I think this looks horrific, but also nice. It hits that nostalgia button. I think the fleshy pink colors are a little bit eerie, but it's how the original toy looked. And I will say the stripes along the back and the legs and whatnot do pop really nicely because they are so dark in comparison to the rest of the skin stuff. And also, this particular shade makes the texturing very easy to see, so it really pulls out a lot of those details. Now, in terms of the discoloration, let's see right back here. This is just, the plastics just started doing that. And also a little bit around that seam there. It's not as bad on this side. I really don't know what is so special about this, because this guy on the shelf, he's inside a shelf with a door. He's not in sunlight, so sunlight's not affecting this. And it's only the one ankle section. This one is fine. So I just don't understand what is going on there with the discoloration. Similarly, you can see that this hip joint is fine. This one has this kind of little bit showing there. Again, I don't understand it. This dino shoulder has some discoloration, but this one doesn't. I have no clue. I don't know if this is like, this doesn't appear to be a film that's like forming on these things. I've tried scraping it off and it doesn't really accomplish anything. That is not something that just is going to clean off. That's discoloration, but it's only happening on one side. I don't get it. The only thing I could think of is when I have this guy displayed, I have, let's see, the way this guy transforms, this would be his, okay, this would be his left arm. This would be his right arm. So yeah, the only thing I could think of is this arm in robot mode is holding the sword, so maybe something in the sword is like protecting the plastic? I don't know. It's very weird though. There's also a little bit of discoloration in this segment back here. Let me get the light a little bit further back, but like this is slightly discolored. This ring is a little bit discolored, but then it's not even discolored. This is just this color, and like the pink on the plastics is a little bit different between a few of them, probably because of the type of plastic used, but I just really wish this discoloration wasn't happening. Oh well. Not really much I can do about it, and again, I don't really understand why. But aside from that, he looks good. He's, the Kingdom Dinobot mold, which is actually a banger, so happy to have him. And the head looks great. The detailing is nice. I like the paint that they did too, with like the stripes going up here, the dark patch around the eye, and then that yellow eye that really like doing the dark patch around that first and then the yellow really makes that yellow pop. That looks fantastic. Now the teeth are painted in white, which is nice. They even painted the tongue red, or like a pinkish red. Get a light in there. There you go. So yeah, they painted a lot on this guy in Dino mode, which I do appreciate. Of course, a lot of the same issues with the Dino mode remain because it's the same figure. You've got the sword tip pointing out of the tail, which looks a little bit weird. It's not as bad as the Kingdom Dinobot, where it's like a metallic pink sticking out of the end. The white is a little bit weird, but it blends into the beige flesh tone colors a little bit better than the metallic pink does with the darker tones that they used for Kingdom Dinobot's plastic. This, though, does look like the tip of a bone is pointing out of the tail, which is a little weird. The head has no left and right movement, which stinks. You can move up and down. You can open and close the jaw. But it really would be nice if this could rotate, but oh well. The arms can go around and also up and down. You got elbow bend, and I really think it would be nice if you had a bicep swivel, but you don't. You've got the ball joint at the wrist, and the wrist is stuck, or rather the hand is stuck in this position, which isn't ideal. The legs cannot rotate forward and backward, but they can go out, and if you do that, it starts to look really weird and reveals a lot of unsightliness, but you can go out like a little bit. If you don't go out too far, it doesn't break the sculpt and gives you a little bit more of a dynamic posing. You get knees, but they only go back that far and go forward. You got ankles that tilt forward and back, and you get what kind of amounts to a thigh swivel, but it's up inside this joint, or this cover here. Pardon. And then you get ankle rotation, and then you can move the claws. So articulation's pretty decent. It's just a little bit brickish in terms of some things. Like, it would be nice if the hips could actually swing forward or go out without looking super awkward, but it is what it is. But as I said, I do actually quite like this figure. Now, get him back there so we can do size comparisons, and because our stand-in Voyager, or rather our new regular Voyager size comparison is being used, we're going to have to go with something else. So here he is with one of the only other Voyagers I currently have, which is Studio Series Gamer Optimus Prime. There is with Ova Prime for Tall Deluxe, Samus Amiibo, and Burnout. See how he measures up there, and I feel like size-wise, it's weird comparing him to Gamer Prime. I know, because they're just so different. Prime looks massive, but compact at the same time. But like a lot of this bulk is just distributed differently, and yeah, it is weird. But that's one of the only other Voyagers I currently own. It's weird. I don't know why I'm not. I mean, I guess technically I own some other Voyagers, but they're like, like Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. That's a Voyager, but it's totally a deluxe, so I'm not really counting that. But anyway, for our most important of size comparisons, here is the, I guess, prehistoric duck with the duck tank. Every now and then I think maybe I should stop using the microphone and just go back to using camera audio for these videos, and then inevitably someone's horrible shrieking child comes through the entryway, because we live on the ground floor of our building, and it just reminds me that no, I can't, because there'd just be way too many background noise distractions, and it just drive me insane. But anyway, transformation time. Going to pop off the tail. This is just, if you know Kingdom Dinobot's transformation, it's the same exact thing. So pop off the tail, take the head, and just bring it down, and this little spring-loaded throat thing will tuck in like that. So just bring that down all the way. Bring the arms up. Bring the legs up. I need to zoom out more so this is more visible. So with all of this splayed open, boy, in this color it's really disconcerting because it's like cutting up a chicken. Anyway, oh, and actually see some more discoloration back here and here. Yay! Anyway, we want to untab the feet from this little section in here. So these just kind of pull out. They untab and can kind of swing down. Untab and swing down. And this one already came untabbed. But basically, there's a tab up in here, and then there's a tab here where this, zoom in more, this panel tabs in to this spot here. So that tabs in there, and then there's a tab on this fleshy piece that tabs into the knee. We pull this down. There you can see. Oh, I don't know if that was on camera, but like there's the tab that tabs in there. So you want to untab both of those in order to untap the legs. Bring those down. Then these panels swing in and fill in the legs. And straighten the legs out. And then push the feet forward and get the heels so that they're flat with the foot. Same deal here. Push that forward and pull the heel out. And these are snug heels, which is not a bad thing, but they are a bit snug. So there we've got all that done. Now we'll just swing this up so that we can rotate the robot mode waist around now. And for the arms, let's pull this whole section here is separate from the actual arms, so you want to kind of pull this out so that you can separate it. Then this will split open like that, and same deal here. Kind of pull that down, rotate that out, and what the heck? Let's finish the arms. So that's just, you want to take this here, this joint, this bit here, you want to rotate that 180 degrees because you do need to rotate it to get it to fit going into Dino mode. So rotate that, Same deal on this side. Rotate that around. And now these are going to be the fronts of the arms, so you want to fold in the claws to make hands, and then rotate the feet so that you've got hands in their appropriate orientation. And now you can untab the tail section, the tail stump, I guess, now from here. And that comes back on this big old armature. And now all of this folds up, this folds down and reveals this tab here. So this all kind of comes in and accordions in and around. This comes down, and then this will tab into the back of the dino head. And then this sits over this little joint here. This all comes down, and then there are these tabs on either side of the tail that are supposed to tab in here, but I can only ever get one at a time to tab in. They don't both tab in simultaneously. I think something somewhere got a little bit thrown out of whack, but like they do not simultaneously tab in. I just can't get them to do it. They do not sit right. Like something, I think something's just, due to the toy manufacturing or being in a box or whatever, something just got kind of flexed out of place. It's fine, like the tail's not going to come out, it's just a little bit annoying. But anyway, now we've got this going on. So now we can swing this down, and I'm just now noticing that there's some more discoloration right here. Not on this side, but on this side. It's always this side. Why is it always this side? No, wait, no, it's not that side. This is the side that was acting up before. So what is going on here? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that stinks. Anyway, this comes down and just kind of swings around. Thankfully, this at least covers up the discoloration. I want to keep that arm up, though, because now this dino arm swings around and in like this. The hand, there's actually like a little tab slot there that tabs over this bit on the forearm. And this all swings in and tucks into the upper body. And this tab here kind of lines up and sits in that little groove on the hand. It doesn't really tab in, doesn't hold securely, it just kind of sits there, which feels a little bit unnecessary, but that's how it goes. And now, keep bumping the light. And now this arm can come down, and then come down, and there we go. And this one, same deal, just swing that in, bring that shoulder up so that this can swing in, and this will tab into itself, come in, and kind of rest in line with that tab. Bring down shoulder, bring down arm, and that is it. There we have Buzzworthy Dinobot in robot mode, and I actually think this looks cooler than the Kingdom one, possibly even more cool than the premium one. I mean, the premium one looks gorgeous, but I really like this design for Dinobot because, again, I have that nostalgia for the original toy. Absolutely, it is lacking in terms of color separation and deco and stuff, but like it's not inaccurate to the original toy. I think the arms need stripes on them, which they don't have, which is unfortunate. But like, you've got the shins. This was originally, I believe, like a almost coppery color translucent plastic. So now they've got it in like this orange color. They, painted the pelvis section. There's some nice extra detailing in the torso that was the backs of the hips with like the yellow dino eyes and the detailing there. Though it is a bit interesting. I'll have to double check the original toy. I don't really remember this, but it's interesting how you have that black around. You can just barely see it here. you have that black that's like around the eye on the dino head, and it's not here on the chest. I'm assuming that is accurate to the toy based on how it was designed and how it transforms, but it's a little bit like, I don't know, maybe if they did like the eye lid section in a darker color, that yellow would pop more, because it's there, it just doesn't stand out as much. But it is what it is. But there's definitely a lot of flesh tone on this guy, where you get it in the feet and the hips, and the arms are entire. Like, aside from the claws, which are painted white, which looks good, there's no paint on the arms whatsoever aside from the claws. So that is kind of a shame. But at the same time, it's not that big a deal. I do wish they brought some of those stripes into the arms, though, to make it look more like the original toy. But this carries over my absolutely favorite part of the Grimlock repaint, and that is the head. That head sculpt is spectacular. I love it. It's a really cool angular look. It's got almost like a vaguely Optimus Prime shape to it. Vaguely. And it just looks fantastic. The dark plastic that they used here looks great, but like that metallic blue with the kind of coppery gold metallic eyes, it looks so good. The head shape is fantastic, but like the colors really make it pop. And it looks really kind of strange on this primarily fleshy color scheme of the rest of the figure, but that kind of makes it work even better. Like that metallic blue really, like, that's, my eye always gets drawn to that when I look at this figure, and it's always great because that is a great color, it's a great tone, it's a great just metallic sheen, and it's a really cool head sculpt. So like that's always where my eye goes, and I really like it for that. In addition to the nostalgia, of course. Now, for articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so you can look all the way around, you can look up and down, and you do get a decent amount of side to side, which I appreciate very much. The shoulders can go out past 90, or if you want to use the other joint, they can go way up like that. You also get a full rotation. You get a bicep rotation. The elbows can bend pretty much to 90 or back that far if you want. You do get wrist rotation. You also get in and out wiggle. And then the fingers do move, with the thumbs kind of being on one hinge and then the other three fingers being on another. So pretty posable. And then you get the waist, which mine does do the wiggle, and I don't know why, because when you rotate it around, it's pretty solid, but it just really likes doing that wiggle, and it's fine. It's a little annoying, but it's fine. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break. It's just like, eh. You also do get a waist rotation, but the dino claws are just long enough that they get in the way of the rotation a bit. So you kind of got to look out for those. Like, you can see how it's whacking up against that. And I really wish that those didn't, because like on this side especially, it's kind of scraping. You kind of feel it catch and scrape. So like, I wish that those claws were just maybe a little bit shorter. I feel like they could have done that to give you better waist clearance, but they didn't. It is what it is. Now the hips can go forward to that far. Well, I guess if they're in all the way, they can go forward to 90, but if you bring them out a bit, they can go up a little bit further. They can go back that far because of the shaping here. And if you bring them out, you can go back a little bit further, but you have to bring them out a fair bit. They can go out to just about... Nope. You can't actually go out past 90, so that's cool. You get a thigh rotation, which is very snug, but you do get a thigh rotation. The knees can go forward because of the transformation, but they can also bend to, let's say that's maybe slightly past 90. And then the feet, you can actually move them up and down, primarily because of the transformation, but you can do that. You can adjust the heel if you want to do that for like stability. And then you also get ankle tilt. So pretty posable. Like I said, the Kingdom Dinobot mold is actually just really, really good. And there is a part of me that is tempted to get the premium Dinobot figure, but like I really have the fondness for this deco specifically. It's one of the few times I have nostalgia for a Beast Wars figure, but it is a fair bit of nostalgia. Now, for this chunk, this, if you want, you can just plug back there and just stay back there. It doesn't really get in the way. It looks a little bit silly, but you can do that. But you can, of course, do the Dinobot thing. You can split the tail open and unpeg that, because there's actually a tiny little, not sure how well this is going to come across on camera, there's a tiny little peg hole on either side of this thing, and tiny little pegs there that go inside those peg holes, so that kind of locks everything together, probably more than it needs to be, because this also tabs in together, but whatever. But you can open this up and give him the kind of default Dinobot weapon, which is just this big, messy helicopter tail blade thing. So you can do that, but you can also do the thing that I much prefer to do. You can pop the sword out. There's a little tab there that sits into that little notch there, so it can only go in the one way. You pop that out, and this can then tab into palm. You can close the fingers around it, and now he's like holding a sword like usual. You can, if you want, peg it in. Oh no, you can't. I could have sworn you could. Maybe this is a, I don't know if this is a change or not. I really could have sworn that you could peg this in just like that, but I guess you can't. Oh well. But yeah, you can peg that in, and now he's holding the sword, and that is cool. I like that very much. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, Hasbro. Now, you can also do the tail shield thing by just taking this and plugging it into his hand, and there you go. It doesn't spin like the original toy, because that's not what this mold is about, but he can hold it. I tend to not like that. I appreciate the fact that they painted the inside. That, it's a little bit gross because it's, this pink fleshy skin color and then red on the inside like it's exposed muscle or something. It's kind of bleh. But, original Beast Wars was kind of wild. But, yeah, I don't really prefer to do this. So what I end up doing is I just close this back up and peg it back here and just leave it like that, because it's my toy and that's what I want to do. So I like just having him with the sword, but you got options. And yeah, this guy is just really cool. I like the proportions. The mold is fantastic. Transformation is great. And I really like the Buzzworthy color scheme because, again, like, it's simple. There's not a ton of paint in robot mode, but what's there works, and it really does do a great job of evoking the original toy, which is the whole reason why I wanted to get this guy. More than anything, I'm just really bummed out by that discoloration. Thankfully, in robot mode, you only see a little bit of it on the hip here, and the rest of it is either covered up or around the back, like the hinge here and the back of the hand there. It's still, I would like it to not be there, but it is what it is. Now let's put, I don't think we need to bring him out quite as far this time, but let's do our size comparisons. So there is Buzzworthy Dinobot, and then we'll bring in our other figures. There is Studio Series War for Cybertron Prime, Over Prime for our Tall Deluxe, Samus Amiibo, because of course, and Velocitron Burnout for a more kind of standard deluxe size. So yeah, Studio Series Prime is bulkier, but Dinobot is taller. So there's that. I don't know. I don't know what we're all expecting out of this. But there is that. Yeah, this guy, I like him. I was tempted to get the DNA upgrades, but I kind of changed my mind on them. I don't know if I'll change my mind back. I just feel like maybe he doesn't really need them, but whatever. And, of course, for the most important of size comparisons, here is Buzzworthy Dinobot with the duck tank. And that does it for Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Dinobot, the Toy Colors version of Kingdom Dinobot. And as I've already said many times, I actually do really like this figure. And I'm glad because it was a really cool mold and I wanted to have one that I wanted to keep, but I don't have that attachment to the character from the show because I didn't watch the show that much when I was growing up. And while I have a lot of Grimlocks, the white and gold Grimlock repaint that they did of this, which uses that head, by the way, just a different color. I love the head sculpt, again, but I have zero connection at all to that Grimlock. I never owned the original figure for that and didn't really know much about it at all. I just saw Grimlock and was like, oh, Grimlock, I'll get it to add to the Grimlock shelf. So yeah, when this came out, I was very, very happy because I finally had something that really did hit that specific bit of nostalgia for me personally. I know objectively the original Kingdom version or the upcoming premium release for the Dinobot, for this Dinobot mold, is the better deco in terms of attention to detail, the amount of paint, that kind of thing. And the sculpt on Kingdom Dinobot's head is amazing. It's fantastic. But even so, this is the one that really speaks to me, and I'm really glad they did this. I just wish it wasn't getting discolored, and I wish the arms had stripes on them. But as I said, this is how it came out, and it's cool for what it is. I'm still very happy to have it. So that has been my look at Buzzworthy Dinobot. What are your thoughts on this guy or any of the repaints, remolds that they have done or are planning on doing? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and once again, no idea what the next video is going to be, but we will see what that ends up being.